If anybody in the world of college football needs the regular season to arrive, it's Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. Because not only are they coming off of a 5-7 finish where they were one game away from being bowl eligible, but now Princely Umanmielen's coming out with comments talking about the practice habits underneath Billy Napier. And to add insult to injury, try to find 7 wins on that schedule and say, oh yeah, that's an easy stretch. Napier needs the regular season to get here just to silence the critics because he is facing a lot of pressure. But now that Umanmielen's comments have been made public, is it time for Florida fans to be a little concerned about what's returning to Gainesville in 2024? What's going on, SEC Unfiltered? It's Cole Thompson here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the ring notification down below. That way you don't miss a single episode of SECU, because we talk about the #1 conference in all of college athletics every single day on this platform. Follow me on my own YouTube channel at Mr. Cole Thompson, my own social media page at Mr. Cole Thompson. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We got you covered 24/7, 365 at SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast listening systems. And to keep up with the #1 conference in all of college athletics, make sure that you visit secunfiltered.com. So, should Princely Umanmielen's comments be a concern for Florida going into what feels like a must-win year for Billy Napier? In a sense, yes, but also the concern should not be actually on Umanmielen's comments. Maybe he just isn't the fit for what Napier wants to run. And even still, he finished with 7 sacks last year, so he did something right playing underneath a guy like Coach Chaos and playing underneath a defensive coordinator like Austin Armstrong. But at the same time, the concern should have came up when the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, came out with comments very similar just 2 weeks ago. Coach Spurrier knows Florida football better than anybody. In fact, I would say probably there is not a more Florida man besides him than maybe Tim Tebow in Gainesville. And even then, both of them can claim that they won the Heisman Trophy, so that's a huge positive. But now there's more negativity and more conversations and more chaos surrounding the program in what feels like an already chaotic year. Yes, you return your #1 quarterback in Graham Mertz, and yes, you didn't lose DJ Lagway in the process. And sure, you got Eugene Wilson coming back for another year, which is really positive. But you did lose a lot of players in the transfer portal, and you found a way to self-implode down the stretch when you were sitting at 5-2. These are not things that you were calling a promising outlook for the future for Billy Napier. But here's the thing I will say. The reason why, if you are a Florida fan, you have some sense of optimism, that defensive line is no longer there. And I'm not talking about the players like Umanmielen. I'm talking about the coaches. The front 7 has a brand new defensive coordinator or co-defensive coordinator in Ron Roberts. He's taken over for Jay Bateman at linebacker coach. And Sean Spencer also decided to hitch his wagon to Bateman and become Coach Chaos down at College Station, Texas. So that's now a problem for Texas A&M to deal with. And Mike Elko in the year 1 will pretty much determine, is this going to be a long-term plan to sustainability, or are we going to crumble under the pressure? It's a new coaching staff. Maybe this new coaching staff cares a little bit more about certain things that Umanmielen was talking about that ends up actually not being a problem. And the other thing that's really important here, Umanmielen also is putting a little bit of pressure on himself, because when you say things like, they're helping me learn to attack the football, I'm getting coached for things harder like that. I feel like at Florida, the way I was coached, it was kind of like almost as if they were telling me to go out there and use my talents, if that makes sense. Well, now you got to live up to the hype, because now you're being coached by people you think are putting the best version of you out on the field. So what happens if you struggle? What happens if all the success that you had last season doesn't transpire over to Oxford? What if Gainesville gave you every opportunity to be a successful premier pass rusher in the SEC, and you didn't realize it until hindsight was 2020 and it's already gone? You know what is in 2020, but it could get in 2024? RHOBACK. RHOBACK has come out with its brand new gear, the Azalea collection, which means it's the best time of the year because they got their great performance polos, hoodies, shorts. It's the best fit. It's the best feel. And there's nothing better than wearing an Azalea shirt during the springtime. RHOBACK's performance polos, they also are so comfortable. I live in the sweltering heat of Houston, Texas. And so during the summer when I go golfing, the only thing I want to frustrate me on my back 9 is my back swing, not my back sweat. You know what I get? I don't get that with RHOBACK. RHOBACK instead is form-fitting, it's very customizable, and it's great for game days. So if you want to go ahead and check them out now, use the promo code SECU on RHOBACK.com for a generous 20% offer on your first order through the end of the week. That's RHOBACK, RHOBACK.com for 20% off polos, hoodies, and much, much more when you use the promo code SECU. You want to look good and feel good this summer? Do so by wearing RHOBACK. Back to what we were talking about with Umanmielen. Again, this is a year where now things are changing. Billy Napier saw the writing on the wall and said to himself, okay, I underachieved last year. This is Florida we're talking about. The head ball coach is now calling me out, and other players are now calling me out. I'm in a spot where I have to find ways to win. And honestly, what does a winning season for Florida look like in 2024? You could go to the 7th layer of college football hell. And I don't even think college football Satan himself would say, you know what? This is what you deserve, Billy Napier, in a must-win year. You're such a terrible human being. You're the God's honest worst case possible. Let's go ahead and throw Miami on your schedule, Florida State on your schedule, UCF that's now improved on your schedule. Oh, and you still got games against Texas A&M, Georgia, and a slew of other teams that are much better and well prepared for you in the SEC for 2024. Best of luck. Well, Napier, I think, took that offseason, realized there's going to be so much negativity surrounding this program because we did finish 5-7. And yes, we did underachieve. And yes, we did self-implode. That I'm just going to have to steer into the skid. Kind of like Umanmielen did. Probably wasn't trying to force people underneath the bus. Probably wasn't trying to name anybody by logistics reasons. But unfortunately, once you just steer into the skid, you're like, you know what? I might as well embrace it. And Florida right now is feeling the pressure. And they're in a little bit of trouble. But here's the best part. The regular season tells the full story. There are people on this app, there are people on this network who cover college football that believe there is no offseason in the sport. And they're not entirely wrong. There is no such thing as an offseason with the transfer portal running rampant, NIL collective still being a big part of everything. More importantly, you also have all these changing of the tides, whether it be players going to the NFL draft, spring football right around the corner, you get to fall camp. It's right there. But is this story making headlines if it's August? Is this story actually coming out and being a grand scheme where we're talking about things in the most prominent light if it's week 4 of the regular season and somehow Florida's sitting at 2-1? Is this story really drawing any interest from anybody out there if there was real football going on? No. And so that's why when I say when you call things the offseason, call it what it is. There's no such thing as downtime in the world of college football. There is 100% an offseason because this story would be nothing. It'd be a straight nothing burger if we were already in the regular season. And you know what? If Billy Napier goes out there and he finds a way to get a win over Miami in week 1 and then finds a way to get himself to 3-1, 4-2, 5-2, all the way leading up to going up to the Georgia game, well, wouldn't that be continued progress? Wouldn't that be growth? And with this schedule, 5-2 might as well be an undefeated season because that's how daunting it is. So what if Napier does all that? It means nothing right now. Florida fans should be worried about what the future looks like if they are unable to continue to build off this season and more players enter the transfer portal after spring practice. But right now, just embrace what you are. Umanmielen needs to live up to the hype now at Ole Miss. And Florida needs to make sure that the new coaches coming in staff, not Coach Chaos, not Coach Bateman, but Coach Roberts and Coach Armstrong are built for the future. And if they're able to go ahead and find a way to get to 7-5 next year, that might be worthy of bringing it back for a 4th season. I know what some people are going to say. 7-5, really, that's underachieving. He's still under 500. Yeah, but 7-5 with that schedule, that's like 10-2 for most teams. I'm just saying, those who are concerned at Florida by Princely Umanmielen's comments have every right to bring it up in conversations. They have every right to speculate what could the future look like underneath Billy Napier if the right changes weren't made. But changes came this offseason in various forms, offensively, defensively. And what if the players that left this offseason didn't fit what Billy Napier was looking for, but the players that he brought in end up helping you find a way to get to bowl eligibility? I would consider that a win and kind of in the same process of you know what you're doing. Regardless of the point, Florida fans, exhale, take a giant breath, things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to. They're all set in stone. The college football gods have already written the pathway of Billy Napier for 2024. It either ends in triumph or it ends in tragedy. But for tragedy for Billy Napier might end up being triumph in the long run for you. And what looks like triumph for Billy Napier this season could end up also being triumph for you in 2025 and beyond. I'm just saying. Princely Umanmielen comments, absolutely, 100%, no questions asked, should raise the alarm in Gainesville. But until you actually see what actually unfolds on the field, it's all negativity, because if you just spew negativity around negative connotation programs. And right now, Florida's in the crapper, so they're going to get a lot of number 2s. Make sure that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the ring notification down below. That way you don't miss a single episode of SEC Unfiltered. Follow me on my own YouTube channel at Mr. Cole Thompson. Follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, social media. We got you covered there too at SEC Unfiltered. And to keep up with everything going on in the #1 conference in all of college athletics, make sure you visit secunfiltered.com. I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, folks, later.